Hi, welcome to the PrismERP technical demonstration. Today we are going to learn about EMI sales in PrismERP. EMI sales allows customers to purchase products by paying in installments instead of paying the full amount at once. The system automatically calculates the down payment, installments, interest and other charges based on the configured EMI settings. In this session, we will first configure the EMI settings, then enable EMI for a product, create an EMI sale invoice, receive installment payments, and finally see how the system handles early settlements and overdue payments. Before we create an EMI sales, we first need to configure the EMI settings. From the settings menu, go to the configuration page. Go to the sale invoice page. This is the EMI configuration option. These settings control how the system will calculate EMI prices, interest, late fees, discounts, and installment plans. Once configured, these rules will automatically apply whenever an EMI sale is created. First, we have MRRP increase rate. This defines how much the selling price can be increased for EMI sales. For example, if a television cost 1 lakh and the increased rate is 15%, the EMI selling can become 1,15,000 before calculating the installments. I'm going to keep the 15% as default here. Next is maximum due after down payment limit. This defines the maximum amount that can remain due after the customer pays the down payment. Next is interest-free tenure months. This tells the system how many months can be offered without charging any interest. For example, if we enter 6 months, customer choosing a 3-month or 6-month EMI plan will pay no interest. But if they choose 9 months or 12 months, the system will calculate interest according to the configured rate. Next, we have lock sale invoice modification after completion. If this option is enabled, once an EMI sale is completed, no one can edit or modify the sale invoice. This helps prevent accidental changes after the transaction has been finished. Next is waive interest for early payment. These settings allows the business to reduce or remove the interest if the customer pays off the EMI before the agreed schedule. If a customer chooses a 12-month EMI plan but pays the full amount after 8 months, if this option is enabled, the remaining interest can be reduced or completely waived. Now we have late payment fee per month. This is the extra charge a customer has to pay if an installment is delayed. For example, if the late fee is 500, then every month an installment is overdue, an additional 500 will be added. I'm entering 1000 here. Now select the interest waiver discount account. I'm going to keep the default one. Select the late payment fee income. Select the higher early settlement discount and higher settlement special discount account. I'm going to keep the default one here. Finally, we have the interest rate section. Here we define the interest rate for different EMI periods. We can enter the tenure here, which means the number of months, then enter the interest rate for the tenure. We can set 6 months 0 interest, 12 months 8% interest, 24 months 12% interest. As we already have configured tenure and interest rate here, I'm not going to add a new one. When an EMI sale is created, the system will automatically apply the correct interest rate based on the tenure selected. So we have configured all the settings. Now click enter. Now we have some additional EMI settings that control validations, reminders, discount and overdue payments. The first option is validate minimum down payment. If this option is enabled, the system checks whether the customer has paid the minimum required down payment before allowing the EMI sales. Next is early settlement exemption. If this option is enabled, customers who pay off their EMI before the scheduled end date can receive the benefits configured for early settlement, such as exemption from the remaining interest. The next option is default interest. Enable this option if we want to charge extra interest when customer fail to pay their installment on time. Now we can configure the notification settings. Days before EMI payment for email determines how many days before the due date the customer will receive an email reminder. Similarly, we can do it for SMS also. And days before EMI payment for portlet means how many days before the due date the reminder will appear on the system dashboard or portlet. We can configure the discount method for EMI payment. Now enter the default interest rate. This is the percentage of additional interest charged to customer who fail to pay on time. Next, enter the defaulter days to define after how many days a customer will be considered a defaulter. Select the defaulter interest income account. I'm going to keep the default one. Once these settings have been configured, click Save to update the EMI configuration. Next, you are going to configure product EMI settings. From the supply chain menu, go to list of product. Before a product can be sold on EMI, we first need to enable EMI for that product. To do that, open the product details page, click on this edit option. Here, enable the available in EMI sale option. This makes the product available for EMI sales. This option is also available while creating a new product, so we can enable it at that time as well. After that, open the EMI settings tab. Click Add to create a new EMI settings for the product. We have already selected item and product. Select the start date and select the end date. Enter the minimum tenure. This defines the shortest EMI period that customers can choose. If we enter 3, customers cannot select an EMI plan shorter than 3 months. Enter the maximum tenure. This is the longest EMI period available for this product. Enter the minimum down payment. This defines the minimum percentage that customer must pay upfront before purchasing the product on EMI. Finally, select the branch where this EMI settings will be applicable. I'm going to keep all. Once all the record information has been entered, click Save. From now on, whenever this product is selected during an EMI sale, the system will use these settings to validate the down payment and available EMI tenure. Next, you are going to configure the higher sale interest exemption slab. The higher sale interest exemption slab is to define how much interest will be waived when a customer settles an EMI before the agreed tenure. For example, if a customer chooses a 12-month EMI plan but pays off the remaining balance after 6 months, the organization may decide to waive 100% of the remaining interest. If the customer settles after 8 months, a smaller percentage of the interest may be waived instead. We can add a new exemption slab from here. Click on this plus icon here. Enter the month. Next, enter the exemption percentage and then select based on. This determines how the exemption percentage will be calculated. If we select MRRP, the exemption will be calculated based on the product's EMI selling price. And if we select total, the exemption will be calculated based on the total outstanding amount. Since we already have multiple exemption slab here, I'm not going to add a new one. Now we are going to create an EMI sale invoice. Navigate to the sales menu, then new sale invoice, to new sale invoice hire. First, select the branch from which the sale is being made. Now select the party or customer. Before selecting a customer, make sure they don't have any active hire sales. If a customer already has an ongoing EMI agreement, the system will not allow another hire sale to be created until the existing one has been completed or settled. Select the invoice date and due date. I'm going to keep the default date. Here the payment method is EMI Sale. If applicable, select the center, enter reference and select the salesperson. I'm going to skip this for now. Select the inventory. Now let's add the product. We can search for the product using a barcode or select the item. From the drop down menu, select the product. Enter the quantity and click add. Now we are moving to the EMI section. From here, select the tenure. As soon as selected tenure, the system automatically calculates the EMI values based on the configuration we created earlier. The remaining amount here becomes the installment amount. Here is the paid amount. Paid amount is the customer's advance down payment. Since we configured a minimum down payment of 25% earlier, the system automatically calculates the amount that needs to be paid upfront. The remaining balance is then divided into installment according to the selected tenure. This is the EMI interest. It displays the total interest charge over the selected tenure. If the selected tenure falls under the configured interest-free period, this value will remain 0. Total hire price is the total amount the customer will pay over the entire EMI period, including any MRRP increase and applicable interest. Finally, we have hire outstanding. This shows the remaining balance that the customer will pay through future installment after the down payment has been deducted. We can select account information, select the cash and bank and interest income. I'm going to keep the default income account here. We can also add terms and condition. I'm going to skip this part for now. Once all the record information has been entered, click Save. The EMI Sale Invoice has been created. It has appeared in the list. From here, you can view and manage all EMI sales. At the top, we have several filters to help us quickly find a specific invoice. If we set this to backdate, we can view all the previous invoices from here. We can search by order number, branch, payment, party status. One important field here is EMI status. This shows the current payment status of the customer's EMI. Regular means the customer is paying the installment on time. Irregular means one or more installments have been delayed. Defaulter means the customer has not paid the installments within the allowed time, is now considered overdue. LPR means the customer has successfully completed all EMI installment and the hire sales has been finished. We can change the status of the invoice that is progresses further. Now open the sale invoice details. Navigate to the EMI plan tab. From here, click Generate EMI Plan. The system will automatically generate the complete installment schedule based on the EMI configuration and the selected tenure. To receive an installment payment, simply click on the Record Installment row, then click Receive. Click on Add Receive. Enter any description if required. I'm going to keep all the default data here. Now click Save. The system has automatically generated a payment receipt voucher. Let's approve and complete it. As you can see, one status has been changed, one installment has been received. Now we are going to pay all the installment together. Click here and complete the payment. As we can see, the customer is paying all the remaining installment before the scheduled completion date. Because of that, the system automatically applied an early settlement discount based on the exemption policy we configured earlier. Complete the payment. All of the installment has been paid. If we open the early settlement info page, we can see how the discount was calculated. Here it shows the discount exemption method. So far we have seen how the EMI installments are generated and how customers can make their installment payments. Now let's see what happens if a customer misses an installment. Let's open an older EMI Sale Invoice. As we can see, most of the installment icons are shown in red. This indicates that those installments have passed their due date and have not been paid. In this case, the system automatically applies a late payment penalty based on the EMI configuration we set earlier. If we click on the late fee option, we can see that a penalty has been applied. This amount has been calculated automatically according to the late payment fee configured in the EMI setting. Once the customer pays the overdue installment along with the penalty, the payment can be received in the same way we received the previous EMI installment. This is the EMI late fee receipt voucher. Now if we again go back to that invoice, as we completed the late fee, now we are going to receive the rest of the installment amount from this customer. This is the payment receipt and this is the defaulter interest receipt. According to our configured default interest penalty, the system also added a defaulter interest to the payment or installment. So that's it for EMI sales in PrismERP. In this session, we learned how to configure EMI settings, create an EMI sale invoice, receive installment payments, and manage early settlements and overdue payments. So thanks for watching. Bye.